Hello, this is Tom Powell with the Founders Office. Have you ever wondered what it's like to be in front of a shark panel? You see them on TV. They, these people come up, they've got their ideas of how they're going to build their business and where they need to go, and they're asking one of the sharks if they'd like to participate and put some money in and put their expertise into that business. I've got two really great sharks with me today. The first one, if you were looking to raise money, she'd be the go-to person for me. Before she was even 25, she'd raised over $200 million from her own book of business and has since gone on to help us raise well over $3 billion for the Founders Office. So, Candace Powell, I'm very happy to have you joining us. And Jackie Kuiper, she is general counsel extraordinaire. And part of why we brought her in was because she started in the legal business of working with the people that had actually not made their dreams come true. She was on the bankruptcy side as a trustee. So if you are wondering what it's like when it doesn't work and why in this wonderful country of ours, how the system actually protects the founders so that they don't get crushed and they're ready to start again and go for another one, Miss Jackie Kuiper is our pro. She's also a very professional with our securities laws and helping us align these for the Founders Office. So welcome, Jackie. Welcome, Candace.
Thanks. Hi.
By the way, I was told that we don't have a very good intro, so there you go. We're the Founders Office.
Sometimes we just dive in and people are like, what did I come to?
What did I come
like, did I join a family Zoom? I don't know.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
Julia, hello, welcome. You did join a family Zoom. Sorry to just
family Zoom or a family Zoom.
Right. It's what you hear.
It's both.
It's what you hear.
Got it.
Juliette Valmont is a designer who works in the luxury field of silk, scent, and color. She won a visual arts scholarship to the prestigious Art Center College of Design in Pasadena, California. She traveled all over the world and met with many European luxury firms. Now she is focused on sharing the story of a superhero sea goddess and developing a way to save the oceans for future generations. Juliette, please go ahead. First, state the problem you solve, and then we'll go ahead and have you do your pitch, and then we'll follow it up with some feedback.
Okay, wonderful. I had been thinking about this. So the problem that I solve is I am here to show you the brightest future for your loved ones and show you how to make it happen. So do I have like a minute to kind of explain that? To go with it?
Let's do a minute.
Well, if I can, that was the solution.
Oh, that's the solution.
Yeah, you told me you told me the solution you have, but you didn't actually tell me what the problem is.
Well, we're going to get into that. How about that? Let's see if the next spiel, you say the same thing. Okay, here we go. So I saw a quote on a guy's t-shirt at the airport, and it said, "You are your ancestors' wildest dream." And I believe that each of us has thousands of ancestors cheering us on here to live with excellence and talent and to live and accomplish things that they could not during their lifetime. And that brings me to the second quote. The world is a very dangerous tipping point with an epic crisis. And the United Nations has stated that more children die from unsafe water than from all the war and violence in the world. And I believe that children everywhere deserve to have safe water and have the opportunity to not be constrained by one of the necessary elements of a healthy life. They deserve to have a clean atmosphere so they can blossom. Hence, my gorgeous sea goddess story, Tethys, a mythic awakening, healing, and belonging story that will elevate us in our harmony with our relationships with one another and in our earthly stewardship. And I believe that one day, after all of us go to heaven, we'll be able to look back and see the accomplishments of what we did for them, how we generously gave them a pure atmosphere to live in. Thank you.
Cool. So briefly, so what that is called is generally your elevator pitch or your bulletproof speech, if we can. And in our framework of raising capital, what we have found over the years is if you can say what problem you solve and how you solve it and what that means, either if you're selling the product or selling the idea, what it means to the audience that you're talking to, and if you're trying to raise capital, what it means to actually investors, and then words that give credibility, and come back to that in just a second, and you can get a call to action with somehow a movement that makes me say, yeah, I want to learn more. So that's a Me Too scenario in 28 seconds. So think of it as a very quick preview to a bit, we're all sitting in the movie theater and you get those 28-second previews or you get the 3-minute previews. And when they can tell a great story in 28 seconds, you're like, I want to go to that movie. I don't need to know more. I want to go to that movie. That's the idea of what that is. So you're standing there, people ask you, what do you do, Juliet? And instead of answering what you do, you answer what problem you solve. And so what I heard you say was, unsafe water kills more children in the world than any disease, war, or anything else, according to the United Nations. What we're working on is boom, 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 boom. So now, do you see how it started with your problem? I'm standing there. I asked you what you do because in America, that's what we do. We say, hey, what do you do? And we're all tied into what we do. But really what we want to know is what you solve or what you're solving, because that's the interesting. That's what makes you interesting. So when you said that, all of a sudden I'm like on the edge of my seat. Tell me more of this. What the heck? What are you doing? Drilling wells in Africa? Or, where are you going with this scenario? Right? So, and the United Nations saying that just added value. Even if I don't trust the United Nations, there's people that don't trust what they say, but it still is a credible source and it's not you saying it. So that's kind of where it goes into. So we'll work on that again. And at some point we'll go through this. And if you like us enough and still are up to it, we'll have you back down the road after you work on this a little bit. But the whole point of the bulletproof speech, okay, that 28 seconds of the elevator speech, or we even call it a ski lift speech, is to get the next meeting. Now, a lot of times the entrepreneur or founder will want to have that next meeting right now. They think somebody's live because they showed interest. That's not what you want to do. What you actually want to do is get that meeting booked. So, boy, if you're interested, I'd love to tell you more. So again, we'll go through that. You first tell the problem, then you say, I'm putting together an award-winning group of talented actors and actors that share this story with the solutions that are workable and proven right now. We're working on that scenario to where it will impact the children in the world, but more so for the people that put the money up for this film, they're going to see a 3x return in the first 36 months. Now, we have the full deck of this that's been done by Ernst & Young for our financials. We have the Warner Brothers Studios that's backing this if we can pull together the capital. And I have DiCaprio that's ready to come on board and star in this film. I can't talk right now, but does any of this, hit you in the heart? Because we're looking for investors that want to be moved by not just the capital that they're investing, but what solution we're going to bring to the marketplace. What that did, of course, besides being made up, which you never want to do because you want to keep credibility all the way through, right? But I don't know enough about your story to give the salient points, but what it did was it walked right through this framework, just like storytelling. Does that make sense? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
We will give those notes back to you at the end of this also as well. So we'll be sharing that with you in writing. Now, you did enough to interest me that you get an appointment with the three of us sitting in a room. And I got to tell you, the group is ADHD. You got to hold our attention, even though, of course, on our show, we're going to be friendly and nice to you. But it's also kind of that way of where we're going to be giving you the feedback and following through to your framework because you asked us to evaluate your deck and what you're working on for your presentation. Fair enough?
Fair enough. Now,
Okay.
I just want to say that I realized that this deck, I put this deck through, an AI pitch deck review tool. So I know that it's only at a 74. It's not in the range of like a real serious, collaboration people are going to jump on. So I know that there's a lot of work to do on it.
I want to know now. You got to spill the beans. What was the AI tool? Do you know?
It was a pitch deck review tool that I was.
It wasn't ours, right?
No,
Okay.
I didn't know you had one.
We do, because you got a 30 on ours.
Okay.
You submitted yours through our
Okay.
through our review where we go through and we actually review your deck and score it off of a number of items. Yeah.
The first deck that I sent a couple of weeks ago to Mike, I knew that scored about 38, but I thought that this next one scored a little bit higher. But I don't know.
Got it. Well, let's see how it goes. Jump in. You got it. It's your show.
All right.
And
So
by the way, we do try and hold this. And I don't know how long you planned it for, but we hold it to 8 minutes. That's the other thing that we have found through all of our research and sitting in the rooms with literally hundreds of presentations. That's about the max attention your money's ever going to have. What you want to do is strive for 8 minutes, and then the meeting hopefully will go 40, 50 minutes because they ask a lot of questions, but not because you're going through the deck, because then again, you're getting a lot of nodding of approval, but they're not going to invest.
Okay, well, that's the secret sauce. It's like, okay, I want to ask you that question. Like, so tell me more about what you just said. I mean,
So if it's real, true investors that are going to be looking at doing an investment, which is what you're trying to do, is find out, and that's again what we work on, is finding getting your story aligned. So then you start working on getting in front of the right type of investors. And by that, what I mean is there's a lot of people with a lot of money out there. Many of them are interested in making investments. If they have not already identified that what you're doing is somewhere that they want to invest, and if they're reasonably professional at it, what they will do is learn about the problem you're solving from you, and they will make the next investment, not you. So you're going to school them for free. Whereas if you can get your problem that you're solving articulated, find out who's already interested that has money in that space, and then you present this to them to get the Me Too in there, they are more likely to either make an investment or even more so make a referral to you to someone who will make the investment. And that's usually what happens. You're kind of like going on a speed dating scenario of, hey, this is what I'm looking for. These are the right people in the room. This is, and you're winding down to get to the right candidates of these are the people I want to be in business with.
very good. Awesome. Okay. So this is a story about a sea goddess purifying the oceans. Original animated feature. The thing about it is that what I'm doing, what I think is like the real secret sauce here is that I'm reuniting three award-winning Netflix actors that I can't tell you who they are and bringing them back together again. They have an established fan base. So this is already going to have, attraction when we announce the film. So we can go to
So to be clear, what you just said before you ever started this, you have an award-winning star who's willing to lend their voice to this project and likeness to this project. Great.
There's three people, and reuniting them in itself is going to be like a wildfire.
Okay.
Wildfire of interest.
When will you be able to release them as potential people, or who at least you have identified, not saying that they're going to do it, but you've identified as the right people for this?
Once I have the money in escrow and they see it.
Yeah. That'll be late. So that most people won't bet on it till then. And so if there's any way to get them to say, this is who we've identified that we'd like to get, they won't commit till we have the money in the escrow. That's great. If you can do that.
We've seen it on prior deals where they were able to secure lead actors with a smaller deposit.
Yeah, we funded one just recently on that, right?
Yeah, they were able to do a deposit for that specific actor to then be able to utilize their name for the funding of the rest of the project. Is that a possibility with these actors?
That's a possibility, yeah. I mean, the thing is that I haven't done anything in the film industry yet. So I think that that's like this leap, this kind of like a gap that I've got to close is, okay, we don't really know you. We don't know anybody else who knows you if you haven't been doing anything in this particular industry. We just want to see that the money's there. We'll hop on board and away we go to the races. So, the people who already, their agents and the people who are in the production team, they love the story and they've won a lot of awards. And these are people who do not need to just take on a project. These are people who can choose the work that they do, can choose where they're going to, put their name to it. So
cool.
Yeah.
We're not gonna let's go through what the story is and see how that gets to it. So let's let you go for it is 12:15 right now. So let's say for 8 minutes, my timer, our general counsel, you got it? All right, let's go.
And I'll just flash you and you got a minute left, Juliet.
So no, so just to put the stage again, you bumped into one of the three of us. One of the three of us is essentially been your champion to get the room to say, hey, this sounds kind of interesting. We're looking at something like this, and we get you into the room. And that's what the presentation is.
Wow. Okay. Titan myth comes to life. So our Golden Globe winning film is about the story of the superhero daughter of Father Sky and Earth Mother. And she's able to reunite and empower the world through purifying fountains of fresh water around. We see incredible droughts, we see famines, we see people just suffering and all this turmoil that's going on in the world. And she's able to come in and by her own personal awakening, which I believe is the reuniting of our relationships with one another, with our families, resourcing our own superhero talent, that she's going to bring that to pass. So this is kind of like what I would think of it as Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon meets Disney's Avatar Way of Water. So we have this kind of epic melding with a more elevated, clearly finale. We can go to the next slide. Most people know a little bit about the water crisis that's going on around the world. Our oceans are full of microplastics and toxins and things that are happening. I feel that this out of harmony being out of harmony is also part of what's happening within us as mankind. So I believe that as we heal our relationships with one another, we'll be able to heal our environment and be able to create this legacy for our posterity. We have reviews of prior successful films featuring sustainability, superheroes. We have a $500 million market that grosses over $1 billion. So when we talk about the film and we talked about the merchandise, so far I've not been able to pull those numbers apart, but when you put it together, the film and the merchandise together, it's over $1 billion per year. Next slide. So we have, like I said, the established fan base reuniting these three award-winning actors. They have this incredible relationship. People love them. People have been clamoring over and over for years. People have been clamoring for these three people to come back together in their previous roles, which I don't believe is going to happen. But I can't bring them together in that role, but I can bring them together in our Sea Goddess superhero story. Next slide. We know that people love superheroes. People love living by the sea. We're gonna actually take out that ESG. We were talking yesterday. We're gonna take that out. The film merchandise market is growing enormously, and we're gonna do this whole superhero kit where people are gonna be able to have a scent, the touch of the silk, the scent of the superhero goddess. They're able to have this incredible emotional connection, but also these tangible merchandise that they're going to love and enjoy. Next slide. The lead actress has 7 million Instagram followers, 4 million on TikTok. Her average post engagement is 155,000 to 1 million. I believe that's a very powerful market opportunity. Okay, next slide. So we're gonna have our Sea Pearl and Gathering gifts, $79 to $229. We'll also have a digital gift ready to be able to roll out internationally. This is gonna happen when we announce the film. So we're gonna have this whole strategy, marketing opportunity of going through these different kits, these different collectibles over the course of film announcement, to the film comes out, to the anniversary perfume at the end of the year. Next slide. The film is going to take $5 million. So we have the three voices, which is very expensive because some of them are Lifetime Achievement Award-winning actors. We have the animation studio and then the music. All of these people have won major league cinema awards. The sponsor recognition package, we have all kinds of different tiers ready to go. Silver screen, we have a legacy partner recognition. We can share that with you, send that out to you. So we have the sponsorship benefits ready to go. Next slide. These are just some of the photos, the images that we have. that go along with the Tethys ecosystem, the luxury ecosystem. Next slide. So we want to have you help us bring Tethys to life, a visionary story with real commercial and legacy prestige. Next slide. And why invest now? Your sponsorship offers unparalleled recognition for safeguarding our planet's most beloved marine sanctuaries. You know, this story is going to be a song. It's going to be the jewel in the crown, the song, the hymn of a much larger project that we're working on. So I'm thinking that whoever is part of our investor coterie is going to be the only ones who are going to be able to go into the next level, which is Emerald, which is the tangible, real world solution that we're going to be building. So Tethys is the song. And then we're going to go into the Heart Emerald, and that's all going to be part of our complex that's called Violet. And I can be happy to share more with you. We have a Violet Heritage page and also a VDR, virtual data room, that you can come into by NDA. Okay. Now you can tear me apart.
First of all, no, I want to do
Sure.
a kudos. First of all, Juliet, you came in at 5 minutes and 45 seconds. So well done, significantly under that 8-minute benchmark that he asked for. 6 minutes is a fantastic amount of time to make your pitch. So well done there.
Yeah, and first, congratulations. Have you actually presented at all the pitch to try and raise money on this yet?
No, because what I've just come across, so that's a good question. I believe that this pitch deck is actually going to be turned into a philanthropy legacy recognition one, because I believe that the equity, the ROI that we're going to go for is turning the money that we make from the film and the merchandise into Emerald. Emerald is our real world tangible development, but that's going to be, you know, the solution, you know, to the problem, like what we're talking about, right? But Tethys is like the song. She's like this storytelling feast that's going to bring us to investing that money into Emerald, which is where the real equity, where I think of as the real money is going to be made.
Cool. So let's go through the pitch a little bit and say, and Mike, I don't know if you can pull up the sheet real quick, and we'll just tell you what our internal AI that we've written a program for goes through. And this is, so what this does is if you go to our website, Founder's Office, and you drop one of your decks in there, it'll run through an algorithm, then rate you in certain areas, and then one of our team members that has experience within ideally that ask that somebody's making. So in your case, it'd be filmmaking that we go through and go, okay, who's got the filmmaking experience? They would go through and they'd say, okay, this matches, this doesn't match, or whatever. So it's not just AI, it's actually first pass AI, then human, and then jumping on the phone with you to kind of chat through it. So that's what this looks like. You're going to get this here. You got on this, I think it was on this deck, it may have been on your previous deck, a 3 out of 10 by our scale. So Mike, you can take that down and I'm going to just walk through it. So that's not bad because what it is no, it's not. It's a starting place, and you know, it's always one of those things. Is it's not so much where you are on the ladder; it's which direction you're headed. And so now, when you've got the opportunity there, we have a lot of times we have people that come in. They have fantastic businesses that are making money, and they score a 3 out of 10 because they don't know how to tell that story in a way that investors understand it. Right. So with that, so don't take that as a negative.
I had one the other day that would probably have scored, and they are active. They have active sales. They're doing well, and they probably would have scored a 1 or a 2.
It's also very dependent on the audience, right? Yeah. You are clearly very much, you're offering a visual feast here. There are audiences that will be hooked by that. So the feedback we're giving is strictly from the seat of an investor considering whether or not they're going to strike a check for this. That's our lens that we're helping build, right? So there's going to be different audiences that you pitch to. So keep that in mind. This constructive feedback is for an investor considering whether to write a check.
And by the way, we use the word investor, and I was sharing actually with Candace and Jackie earlier today. A large part of my work in particular, but Candace's work as well, and Jackie's to an extent, is nonprofit. So we still look at those. They're different stakeholders, but they're managed very similar to how investors are. The outcome they're looking for is different, but much of the process is still the same. So whether you do turn this into a philanthropic model of, hey, you're not going to get a return, it's going to go to do more of good work, and so this is going to be more of an impact investment, it's still the same basic stories that I'm going to talk about. So first thing, the problem that you solve, you have a problem that you can articulate, and you can articulate it in a way that gets a lot of people emotional. The solution then needs to be the next stage. And I think I understand your character that's the solution, but let's dive a little bit deeper into your character. Do you actually have a storyline that is written in either a book format or in actually the movie script at this point?
I've written the script.
You have. Okay, cool.
I've written the script, and all the award-winning agents love the script. So this is like, to them, they go through hundreds of projects, they go through hundreds of offers, and they
So
would have to be willing to pay.
that's
So
the happy.
that's a huge
yeah.
thing right there.
That's the happy end. That's the happy ending, partially credibility, partially, and mostly it's really what we call good guy. So when you're writing your movie scripts, you have the villain, you have the hero, and then what's the outcome that's the benefit, the happy ending to the scenario. So you have this heroine, not your character. The heroine is that you've written this script that actually impacts people and can come to life in the form of a movie. And you are confident that this movie will move people to do X. That's going to be the happy ending, right? So the heroine is the script in this case, and you've actually already put it together because it solves the problem of getting that message out there about the earth is in a challenge and children are not getting fresh water. And we've got a script that is going to help move people so much emotionally that they will take action. And what this is going to do is this is the type of an impact investment that's going to be able to do that. The fact that you've got the script, which I didn't get from your presentation, is a major, major point. The fact that you've got any agent, I don't care if they're a top agent or not, if you have any agents that would be willing to put their name on there, or if you could say things that are very factual and specific that says the top, I've made it to the blacklist, which is they're ready to produce if I raise the capital type scenario. And that was from MGM and Warner Brothers or whomever type. And you may not be able to do that, but you could say, we've shown this to the 3 of the top 5 houses. And if somebody gets into your data room, you can prove that out. Then that would say, look, I've got this here. We've got a script and they're ready to get this going. All we need is the capital. Then the happy ending moves into, if you want it to be an impact investment, this is how it's going to turn into something. We believe that this movie will produce a $1 billion annual revenue. And these are the movies that have Wicked, Boom, whichever ones. You can say these have all done that type of scenario in that revenue that has been able to be used, which we utilize to start the Emerald Foundation, as you called it, or how that was. Does that make sense?
Right. Yes.
So what I covered was your bad guy. You've got it. You just need to articulate that a little tighter. Your good guy is probably the script and the ability to get this movie made, which is, even again, back to, we've got 3 of the top rated actors in the marketplace that have shown interest in this. And again, if you're interested and get an NDA, we'll tell you who they are and we'll get it into we'll get you into our data room. We've got the top studios that have said they're ready to go with this. And, we're looking, this is what we're going to do. Credibility is other movies that have had successfully done this and created impacts. Credibility is, this is where we're moving with this and that this movie can make an impact and tell a story. I would like to see something like this. I'm going to really age myself, but it just came out here recently. In the 80s, Reagan was running a head-on race with Russia, the Soviet Union, until a movie came out called The Day After. Now, why that actually may make sense is because a lot of your investors that you're probably going to appeal to are probably going to be about my age or older, right? So we would all remember that. We'd remember when that movie came out because you used to watch TV. We all watched our TV at the same time. Boom. It was a major emotional impact. And it is credited with stopping the arms race, that movie. So why that's important in the storytelling would be to be able to say, we have historic, and you can find like 3, 4, 5 more examples of those, tell them briefly, but say, these are movies that have come out and they caused a change in the culture of the world. And what we believe is this is that movie, this is that story that does it. Does that make sense?
It is.
Okay. So now you've got momentum moving into there. You're going to tell them what they do. Your credibility is in there. Your call to action is, as Candace had said, we just recently were working on another movie. And by the way, please don't send us any more movies. This is not our area of expertise, but we did invest in this one over there. So, I don't want to get known as that we're investing in the movie theater, because then that's all we'll be looking at, is which are
We're
fun.
producers now.
Yeah, I know, we're producers. So my son happened to go to New York Film Academy. So, we have this tie-in on certain films that come through. So you want to be able to say, and I think, Candace, you said it, that there is a list that says you can get a guaranteed that these people will be available for X of your production price. It may be $1 million.
Some have a guarantee.
Yeah. So
And
there's
if you
some
deposit
level.
100,000 or something, you can.
There's some level that's in there that says, for our first $1 million, what we'll be able to do is we'll be able to secure the A-list actors that I'm talking about. And that would be probably where I'd say, because, and then with them on board, we have a 90% a surety of having full funding for the rest of the film. So that real risk is the first $1 million of the $5 million. The next $4 million makes a big difference, but here's the stability of what that means. So we need that $1 million. We'd like that $1 million that we're looking to secure is by March, end of first quarter next year, which is March, so that we can be in production by the following March. So what we're looking for is Now you get through there, you see if there's a visceral reaction to what you've done. Hopefully you've got them across on the Me Too. Okay. So again, to just go back through that, you go through the villain, the hero, heroine, the happy ending, which for investors or impact investors is, what does that mean in money or returns, or what's the next step? I'd be careful about, and this is going to lead us into the emerald. It'd be like, this is the impact we're going to be able to do. Think of, we're going to be able to make a momentous change, such as, again, the day after or something like that. That could be the happy ending, right? And then with the capital, what we're going to be able to do is launch the next version of this, which is XYZ. I'd probably pause on that and just say, look, we're making this and it's going to go to investors as a return. And then after the fact, you'd sell them on, reinvest it back in, but let's get the return. So that would probably be my answer there. So bad guy, good guy, happy ending, villain, heroine, again, happy ending. And then credibility, your actors or actresses, who they are, or at least how you can find out who they are, your studios that have said, your relevance to other movies that have done a massive impact before, and then your call to action, which is when you want to do it. And then the last one is getting, which you do throughout, getting me too. I care about my kids. I may not be around on the planet by the time this stuff happens, but my grandkids are, right? So I care about what's going on in this planet. And so that's where you look at it. We've been given this gift. We want to be able to pay that forward. How do we do that collectively?
That's great.
I took all the time talking, Jackie. That's not what we did last time we did the panel. I'm so sorry. I normally let you guys go first. I jumped right in there.
I want to give Julia a chance to ask us questions, and I'm sure Candace has some great feedback too. Julia, visually, this is a feast. Like, the presentation is beautiful. What it does is it puts me in my left creative artistic brain, which is beautiful and has a purpose, but then it also creates a disconnect for me surrounding what you're asking for from investors. So and this just goes back to having different presentations for different audiences and knowing your audience and knowing your ideal investor, and then telling the story for that investor. So in that vein, I would love to hear you state your problem like, I inspire, and then fill in the blank. I inspire people to invest in clean water. I inspire people to purify the oceans. I inspire, something with that. I tell stories to inspire people to whatever it is that you're doing. Or you can say, I clean our planet's polluted water, and people will say, that's so interesting. Tell me more. How do you do that? And then you have an opportunity to lead in and go, I'm doing it through this storytelling mechanism. I think if I were, if we were having just like a one-on-one conversation, I was really diving deep on this, I might say, why is this the chosen methodology to clean the oceans? And maybe that wasn't the thought process, right? Maybe you started with wanting to do film, wanting to do storytelling, and then wanting to tie the benefit of that to a philanthropic effort or to have a desired outcome. But I would just think through that and kind of how to add more depth to that. Like, what's your why? Why this methodology to clean the oceans? And then going a little further into how this solves the problem you stated. Walking investors through, like, there's a legit plan. We have thought this out. There is a pathway to take money, to take profits from this film and then do X, Y, and Z with it. And you mentioned Emerald, and you said there's tangible development there. So I suspect you may already have that underway. We didn't get to hear about it. And then the last thing is, don't be afraid if you're in front of an investor. Don't be afraid to make your ask right away. Like, we're raising X amount of money so that we can tell this story, so that we can do this. And part of so we can do this is to clean the oceans and get our investors a return, because investors will want to know what's in it for them. If it's clean oceans, great. Some people are inspired by that. Other investors will want to know the numbers, like what can we expect and on what timeline here as far as getting our money back. So I know that's a dump of info, but it's a beautiful presentation. I think you've got a lot to work with, and just adjusting how you talk about the problem and the solution will be fantastic. Candace?
Well, if yours was a dump, like, get your bucket ready, because I have a little bit more, but I'm going to try to keep it condensed. I want to echo, this is a beautiful presentation, and you and I got a chance to meet yesterday. So I had a little bit of a sneak peek. I was the shark you met in the elevator, basically. And one of the things you and I discussed, that you just didn't have time to prepare for this webinar, but I'd love to see it in the future. I think that, one, you're a storyteller, you're a visual artist. I think it's amazing. And not only visual, but storytelling artist. That combination is what I want to see. I see this pitch for something in the visual art space, in the music art space, as a story. This was a pretty kind of clinical run through of a pitch, right? Like A, B, C, D. And I think you have a unique opportunity to move the audience through storytelling. So take what Tom gave you, and I actually disagree a little bit with Tom. Make the movie the hero, and also include the investor as the hero, because people love being a hero. So hone in on that hero story, but tell it as a story. Get people in, like almost like a classic tale, and you don't need to make it juvenile. It can be a really moving piece. So I think you have an opportunity there. I'm not going to harp on the problem and solution. Everybody else has talked about that. We know what we need to work on. I appreciate the comment on the actors, and I agree we do need to kind of keep that in. I actually care more about the filmmaker experience. You let us know you don't have any filmmaking experience, and I didn't see, other than you talking about these actors signed on, I don't actually care about the actors. I care about who is on your team who knows how to make a damn movie, because that's what I'm investing in. These actors, we've all seen horrible movies with a great lineup of actors. I care about somebody who can make a great movie, because there's also great movies that come out with no-name actors. We know it's about director, production, all of those things. So that's what I care about. Instead of focusing on actors, you need to get a top-tier team member who knows how to make a movie. That's really critical. I saw
do have
some,
that.
huh?
I do have that. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, I need to know that in your story.
Animation studio, won over 70 international awards, Cannes
Yes.
director recognition.
Huge value.
Yes. That's huge. I care more about that than the actors. So that's
Okay.
really important.
Okay.
I saw some budget. There was, having had now experience a little bit in this space, there was no budget for marketing, which is a substantial part of the budget. That would make me nervous as an investor in this type of product. I know marketing budget is more than likely double what production is in some cases. So that's a really important piece. I would be like, great, so you made the movie and now you can't get it out there. I also didn't see any distribution strategy or partnerships. Also very critical. Doesn't do me any good as an investor to make a movie that can't get distributed. Again, on the
I
movie.
mean, the thing about the sales, we'll have a sales agent to do distribution with all the relationships, whether it's Netflix, some kind of streaming platform, because that's going to be an absolute yes with all the agents.
And that's critical.
They want to know where it's going, so that's definitely part of the deal.
Yeah, need to know that, because if you're in front of a sophisticated film investor, which I'm not, I have a little bit of experience, so I know a little bit to be dangerous. So I'm just asking some of the basic questions.
Right.
Same thing on returns. A lot of times when we've looked at movies or theatrical things, it's been based on points. So I'd like to understand a little bit more on the returns. And then, like Tom said, because I mean, this is going to be more on the independent film side of things. We would need to see what other independent films with a similar strategy, with a similar target audience, with a similar merchandising piece would do. So that was quick and dirty on my notes. Sorry to like dump it on you. I know we want to leave enough room. I was just trying to take quick notes as we went.
That was great. I do want to put this and whether we put it up in the thing. When Candace said you can have A-list actors and have a worst movie ever, go look at just the preview. Don't watch the movie of Tiptoes, Tiptoes. If you want to see the worst pitch ever, then it actually ended up being one of the worst movies ever, and you can watch Matthew McConaughey and Gary Oldman talk about they're not even sure why they made the movie. They were desperate or whatever else, and it's just horrible. So I think that Candace, that is absolutely fantastic feedback. That's also why it's a panel, right? Because we'd be going in here and be like, oh, that's a really good, interesting point there, Candace. Yeah. So that's why it's
you
much
get three of us. We all have different experience. I also had the preview. I'm the one who brought you to the panel. So I got the preview, which I had an extra 24 hours to think about it. So
yeah, what questions do you have for us?
So putting this together, like, okay, so I work on the pitch deck, bring it back out. What's your idea? Like, so we have the elevator pitch, and then I was taught that you should have like a one pager.
Yeah, so the ideal model of kind of materials that you want are you get your bulletproof speech down, 28 seconds or better. Then you have a one pager, but you generally don't leave that right away. You might do that, but that's a reason you follow up with them. You've already got them for the appointment. By the way, an email is only an activity. Getting the appointment is a result. That's the next result that you want. So sending an email and sending a proposal or sending your deck is a bad idea 100% of the time, 100% of the time, right? So you're like, hey, here's a little bit of something to tell you about it. But that executive summary generally is best when you come in and you're going to leave that with them. So you made the presentation, you're going to give the executive summary, because the whole point of doing that first presentation is to get the next date. Now, if they pull out their checkbook and they're ready to write the checkbook, don't say, no, we have to date again. You're like, yep, I'm getting married. There we go. If they feel like a good group, right?
if it's the right money,
if it's the right money, but you've already done your homework on it, right? So it's the right money. So that executive summary, then a more of the PowerPoint presentation into a PDF type format that is more of a true executive summary. So a one pager into an executive summary. And then for the lawyer disclosure in all of us is all of that is your offering documents. So when you're actually raising these, you do need to get some offering documents. So before you came back around to us, what we'd be looking at is, Juliet, we want to see your economics. Don't do the economics yourself. Have someone actually who knows the economics of movies, as Candace was saying, make those economics. right? So that would be part of it. You had that part about, you know, who already says, yes, we'd be interested in this. That's critically important. Who you'd have as a producer, critically important. What the team is, and where that goes. So that would be the next stages. But the more you can get this, and I don't know if you possibly can take your story a little bit and, you know, use intellectual property to you'll be covered by copyright, but maybe some other storytelling pieces that you can do in there to have a leave behind flip book about your story that's very brief, but it just gets you involved and it gets me involved. It's like, yep, okay, I kind of get this, right? That also could be a value. Don't spend a lot of time on that necessarily. If it comes and it's organic, then I think that's great.
Okay, perfect. Great. You guys are awesome.
You're awesome.
Yeah.
It takes a little bit of courage to hop on
It takes a
this
lot of
and
courage.
run it through. So well done.
It takes a lot of courage. So that's awesome. Well, congratulations. Great story. I want to see you get out there, save the earth, and keep working on it. So it's a valuable idea that you have there. And just with some pieces, you'll get to the next step. Juliet, thank you. Thanks for joining us here at the Founders Office.
Thank you, guys.
Everyone, these are Wednesdays. Next Wednesday, big deal. It is our monthly Women Talk Finance. I actually step off the stage, and the professional women of our team and some guest stars come on and are doing some work next week, right? Any updates on that? What's going to be, or it's a secret?
We're going to have an awesome guest.
Yeah?
Yeah,
love
that's
that.
right. Yes.
Ellen Long is going to be joining us.
I'm excited.
I love Ellen.
See
That's
ya,
going to be
Dad.
great. So
Get out of here.
Get outta
No
here.
boys allowed.
Exactly. Women Talk Finance, or WTF. And we look forward. Everybody have a great week. Juliet, again, thanks for joining us. Take care.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks,
Bye.
Juliet.
Appreciate it.
Bye.